Hi everybody, this is Jody Lester and you're on Elevated Living at elevateme.org. And today is Sunday's Deeper Elevation. And today I thought I would talk about the topic of love. Now, why love, you say? Well, I really wanted to do a training on love as I've been inspired by my business, by relationships, by my growth over the past couple of years to do an extensive training on how those things intersect. And so I hope you will join me next year in 2011 when I do extensive live training on business and love and the global view of that. And hopefully, you'll get something really rich out of it, as most of you are entrepreneurs or business minded or building organizations or professionally developing and learning how those things kind of intersect. But the other reason I wanted to talk about love is because I think a lot of times when we ask people about what love is, they have a hard time with really defining it without using the word. I've asked individuals, well, what is love to you? Or how do you define love? And people will say things like, well, love is love, or love is an emotion, and love is hard to describe. And I think that's copping out. That's really just an easy way to say, I don't know. And what is important about that is that if you cannot define what love is, or if you can't define anything for that matter, how do you know that you're receiving it? And how do you know that you're giving it? If I can't even define love on any basic level, how can I be sure that I am actually being loved, or that I'm in love, or that I have people around me who love me, if there is no tangible definition for that? And furthermore, how can you be sure that you're getting love from me? So I thought I would share with you my belief about what quadrants make up love. And I'm a big fan of four things. I believe in the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, and the mental. But I also believe that many of our life philosophies and the things that we do are made up of four quadrants. Sometimes we have a famous three, but I think love is one that has four. And the four elements that make up love, in my mind, are time, charity, freedom, and resources. Now, charity in and of itself is usually what I use to describe love, because in a lot of passages you will see that the word charity has interchangeable connotations for the word love, and that they've defined them as both. But really, charity is the overall word that we're looking for here. Love is a bit more common. We know what that means. When you say the word charity, it takes us to a whole nother mindset, which is great, because actually love is a component of charity and not the other way around. But we're going to say the word love just to keep it easy, keep it smooth. And so when you talk about charity, you're talking about your ability to have grace, be forgiving, be accepting, to give. And when you accept people for how they are, when you're able to give people grace, give them time to get it together, that is a component that really speaks to what love is about what a higher level of loving is about. So really, love is a component of charity, but we're going to just reverse it for this deeper elevation, okay? And so it's important that we believe that we're getting those things from and giving those things to the people around us that we are having a relationship with that is loving. Now, you're talking about just love in general. There's different kinds of love. There's romantic love, and then there's, familial love, and then there's, love of our things and our environments. But love in general has that charitable component, that component of giving and accepting and just trusting. There's faith in charity, and there's also a level of sacrifice when you love. When you love people, if you're loving on your children, you sacrifice for them. Most of the time, that if you're about to have children, there are going to be some major sacrifices. And most of the time, most of us who really strive to be good parents don't mind making those sacrifices for our children, because sacrifice is a part of parenting, and it's a part of showing people that you love them. Now, some of the other components of love, as far as time, which is a very important one, and I think I've discussed that in other areas of either this blog or on some of my Facebook postings. And time is an interesting one, because time is the one thing that we can give and we can never get back. And when you love people, you take time to spend with them. You take your time to give to them. You take time to visit them or care for them if they're sick, or if they're in the hospital, or sometimes even if they're incarcerated, if they can't get out of the house and they're shut in, or if they're just feeling bad. We take our time and we love people with giving them our time. We take time to wish people happy birthday, to get them a gift, to send them a card, to send them a letter or an email, to communicate with them. We take our time to think about their cause or their mission or what they're going through, and we invest it back into them, and we know we'll never get that back, or you should be at least aware that you'll never get it back, and that's meaningful to give time, and is a grand indicator that you love, and probably one of the most important, because when you give people time, you're telling them that they mean something to you. And when you're giving people time that's constructive and positive and supportive, there's an element of accepting in that speaks back to charity. So time is probably one of the most important pieces of showing and receiving love. People who don't have any time at all for you, and people have a different way to parcel time. Some people are very, very busy people, and their lives are very full. But if you call them and you need something and they take their time to give it to you, especially when you're really in need, that's meaningful. Especially when you're talking about business-minded people, or people who have to, keep multiple balls in the air, to just put everything down, to cater to you and to serve you in your time of need is significant. Those are people in your circle who care, who love you. Even if it's never said, that is one of the behaviors that indicates that we love or are loved. And then there is freedom. Now, freedom speaks back to that cliche that says if you love something, you should let it go. And if it comes back to you, it was yours to keep. And if it doesn't, it was never yours in the first place. That little cliche that we've said, over the ages, is an indicator that love is freedom. That if we really care about something, we really love something, there's freedom in that. Now, freedom speaks to some different components too, and I can't get into the depth of each of these quadrants, but freedom speaks to an ability to accept, but it also speaks an ability to release, to let people make their mistakes, to let our children grow up, to let our parents experience life, especially, if we've grown up in households where one parent was there, maybe through divorce or through single parenthood, and they've sacrificed their own personal relationships for their children. And sometimes as children, we get selfish, and we don't want our parents to explore life and leave us behind, so to speak, or to be grown-ups again, and so as we are living our own lives. So freedom is an important part of love. Freedom is very important when you think of situations of domestic violence, or you think of situations of people who have stalkers, who have individuals who are obsessing over them. That is not love, because in love there's freedom. One of the keys to love and loving yourself as well is that you shouldn't want to love somebody or be around somebody who doesn't want to be around you. You need to have enough love for yourself to release people who are behaving as though they don't love you, who aren't spending any time with you, who don't give you any grace, any charity, people who aren't giving you a freedom, who are checking everything you're doing, everywhere you're going, don't want you to have your own friends or your own life. That's scary. That is not love, to not give freedom, because even if you believe in a higher power, you get freedom. Freedom was a gift. Free will is a gift, it's a birthright into humanity if you believe in creationism. And it's not showing love, it's not showing any kind of divine love or any higher love to hold on to people so tight, especially if they want to be set free. And then there's resources. And a lot of us who give to charities, a lot of us who give to our churches, who give, to make sure that there are children in other countries who are eating, that there are people who are able to buy clothes or have clothes at a lesser or cost or free. We give away our, gently used furniture, cars, and we donate things. And sometimes we give to people in our family, in our neighborhoods, because they need, resources. Our talents are resources. There are lots of us as professionals, lots of doctors, lawyers, nurses, who do work for free. They give their time in other countries to go, and there's dentists who go to third world countries where they're low on doctors, and they donate months, weeks, hours of their time. We are giving our resources. Resource sharing is a way that we love. It's a way to speak to love and to charity and to freedom. When we give of our resources, people have a little bit more freedom. If you donate a car and a person is able to get it at a lower cost, they have the freedom then to pursue their goals in life, to go to work. They have a way to transport their children to school and to the doctor. It's a full circle. And when we think about how we share those kinds of resources, it's a way of loving on others. And sharing your resources, especially with the people who you love the most. If you have a friend or a family member who's in trouble and you help them, whether it's monetary, whether it's loaning them a car, whether it's finding them a good lawyer, whether it's finding them a great doctor, sharing your resources is a way to love on people. So I wanted us to get a better working definition of love, because relationships and how we relate to each other is the foundation for existence, period. We can think it's work and other things, but really the foundation is how we relate to one another as human beings. And to have a working definition is a great start to determine and to define how we love and how we are loved by others. This has been Jody Luster on Elevated Living at elevateme.org. This has been Sunday's Deeper Elevation. I hope that it has helped. I hope that you got something out of it. And I hope to hear from you with your comments and your feedback. And until we next connect, as always, I'm wishing you the very best of life. Love you.